You're watching VDTV2. Margot finds an interesting use for one of Tom and Barbara's prized cucumbers. The good life is in half an hour. But first, hot, wet and soapy action from Istanbul. Sir George Formby hosts international window cleaning.
Now I go cleaning with for a tin on an hour, sitting in the steering office.
We apologise for the technical difficulties that we are experiencing. We're having slight problems bringing to you international window cleaning. Unfortunately, there's been a slight hitch. So, instead, while we locate the problem, we'll be broadcasting the world-famous Bar-Steward Sons of Val Doonican TV special, At Home with the Doonicans.
KLOS Clone Radio. We play the songs that sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
I've always considered myself very lucky to have so many nice things to look back on in my life. Like producing an entirely new generation of young Doonicans, a great bunch of musicians who were very happy to play traditional music for hours and hours on end, just for the sheer joy of it.
I like tall speakers, I like small speakers, with their music, their wire sound. Walking about with my head full of music, set in my pocket and I'm gonna use it stereo. Out in the street you know, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Power from the needle to the plastic. AM, FM, I feel so ecstatic now. It's music that I found, and I'm wired for sound. I'm a small boy who don't like his toys. I can't wait to get wired for sound. I met a girl and she told me she loved me. I said you love me, you must like what I like. My music is dynamite. Whoa, 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 whoa. She said I'm not a girl you can put on as a standby. I am a girl who demands that her love is amplified. Switch it to overdrive. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Power from the needle to the plastic. AM, FM, I feel so ecstatic now. It's music that I found, and I'm wired for sound. To the plastic, AM, FM, I feel so ecstatic now. It's music that I found, and I'm wired for sound. I like tall speakers, I like small speakers, with their music, they're wired for sound. Tall speakers, I like small speakers, with their music, they're wired for sound. I like speakers. I like small speakers with their music. They're wired for sound.
There's a really good picture of that. Who was that?
Up there, she
went off on one.
Cliff's private collection, great, isn't it?
There were only 2 people in the history of the Parkinson show, the first 380 shows that we did in the 70s and 80s, who changed the audience at all. In other words, you could book these 2 people and they would add 2 million viewers as a minimum number to your bedrock support. I think music was a means to an end. I think that a gifted banjo player, certainly. But I think that they're very, very charming.
I thought they were wonderful. I just thought they were wonderful.
They're completely their own thing, and they're invented their own. And it's also that there's elements of Salvador Dali in there, you know. I mean, when you look at what a shambles it was put on, I think that it's opened the door. People will watch stuff that isn't necessarily bang on professional or sharp, but people watch it because it's like interesting and like out there, and they don't know what's going to happen next.
I think this is almost old-fashioned in a way. It was crazy, it was silly, it was anarchic, and it became enormously popular.
There was a sort of glorious kind of rebelliousness about it and a kind of freedom attached to it that represents that whole spirit of rock and roll, if you like, and a fantastic theatricality and campness that everybody enjoys.
They become part of your life. It's like they're more like smells.
They came down to see us at Richmond, and we were just completely a number, you know, and they were all suddenly, they were standing there, and they were just standing there sort of checking us out, the opposition, and then they introduced themselves, you know. They came down and we were trying to rehearse, and they said, "Do you want a song?" We said, "Yeah, we're always really open for songs," because we didn't write our own. And of course they were always well known for their hit-making potential, ability. Right. And so they ran around the corner to the pub to write this song and came back with it and played it to us, and it was horrible. And so we never bothered to record it.
Okay, this is a song by Sparks.
This usually gets biggest laugh at night, actually. It's brilliant.
Might not tonight. Tigers. This town is big enough for the both of us, and it ain't me who's going to leave. Flying, domestic flying, go when the stewardess is near. Don't show any fear. Heartbeat, increasing heartbeat. You are a khaki-colored bombardier. It's a Russian mother that you are nearing. This town is big enough for the both of us, and it ain't me who's going to leave. Daily, except for Sunday, you dawdle into the cafe where you meet her each day. Heartbeat, increasing heartbeat, as 20 cannibals help hold of you. They need the protein just like you do. This town is big enough for the both of us, and it ain't me who's going to leave. Shower, you got to look your best for her and be clean everywhere. Heartbeat, increasing heartbeat. The rain is pouring on the foreign town. The bullets cannot cut you down. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, and it ain't me who's going to leave.
had my own real princess. Sometimes when I played here, I would see they'd be whisked off to the castle. For 3 consecutive nights, they erected an old school friend of mine and I for 10 shillings between us. A little bonus for those taking part were free tickets to the concerts. Well, I've come back here just to retrace a few of my early footsteps and to do a bit of reminiscing with the help of this sketch pad and pencil. Well, this here is a little place where I was born. It's hard for me to imagine now that it housed my mother, my father, 8 children, and a fair-sized cat. Our family gatherings took place behind that little window over there in the living room. You need a much bigger place nowadays to look after a Doonican get-together.
We're obviously in the Hilton International today. It's full of packing. We're due to do a gig at Wembley, and to be honest, things aren't going all that well, really. We had a bit of a late night last night. Things have gone a bit dodgy, and you don't realise how many hours of preparation it actually takes to get yourself looking immaculate, just like Dad would want, with this lovely straight black hair. And I'm afraid it just don't run in family. But the thing is, I'm armed with my hair straighteners and my redkin. I should be fine, just give me a few hours and we'll be alright.
Right, this is for all the heavy metal fans in here. This is a Judas Priest song.
Heavy metal fan, we've only seen a cliff fan in corner. Never mind.
Go on. Na 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 there I was, completely wasted, out of working down. All inside is so frustrating as I drift from town to town. It feels as though nobody cares if I live or die. So I might as well begin to put some action in my life. 2, 3, 4. Breaking the law, 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 breaking the law. Na 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 na. So much for the golden future, I can't even start. I've heard every promise broken, there's an anger in my heart. You don't know what it's like, and you don't have a clue. If you did, you'd find yourself doing the same thing too. 2, 3, 4. Breaking the law, 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 breaking the law. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. Na 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 breaking the law, 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 breaking the law.
You seem to have a lot of instruments. Do you ever get bored with playing them?
You can never get bored playing with your instrument. These are a small range. This is just some of the guitars.
Oh, bored with playing with your instruments. Sorry, I'm a bit slow on the uptake. Do carry on.
Yeah. The guitars that are behind me are just a small selection of some of the ones that we take on the road with us. This is a 1957 Hondo 2. It's particularly well known for its flame design. It's quite a particularly nice one. That we've got.
It's particularly lovely.
Yeah, this one here is probably my favourite. This is the one that my dad gave to me when I was only a little boy, just before he left.
Did you need any help to pick it up? Because it's a bit of a monster.
Strange enough, whenever I was little, there's actually photographs of us somewhere with me actually next to this guitar, and the guitar was the same height as me. You probably wouldn't believe it, but I was actually once just this tall. In fact,
were you actually that tall? Actually?
I was actually that tall. Whenever I was first given.
That's actually quite interesting, actually.
Thank you. So yeah, this Dad decorated it. Because he couldn't afford to decorate a bedroom before.
I understand he'd always been colourblind, is that true?
I don't know, he was quite an artist, I did. You may have seen some of his sketches and things.
Oh yes, here's a lovely little drawer.
So, but this is a lovely guitar. It's it keeps tune particularly well. Yeah, just give you an example. Not a thing out of place.
Ready? Yeah. G'day, Reese. Emmanuel Camp was a real piss and he was very rarely stable. Heidegger was a boozy beggar who could drink you under the table. David Hume could not consume Schopenhauer and Hegel. And Wittgenstein was a beery swine who was just as sloshed as Schlegel. There's nothing nature couldn't teach about the raising of the wrist. Socrates himself was permanently pissed. Charles Stewart Bill of his own free will on hop and shandy was particularly ill. Plato they say, could stick it away. Half a grade of whiskey every day. Aristotle was a bugger for the bottle. Hobbes was fond of his dram. And Brownie Descartes was a drunken fart. I drink, therefore I am. Yes, Socrates himself was particularly missed. I love that little think about the when he's pissed. Cheers. Of me and you. You wrote I love you, I love you too. I sit there staring and there's nothing I can do. Oh, what's your color? Your hair is brown. Your eyes are hazel in softest clouds. I have to kiss you when there's no one else around. I'll get your picture. I'd like a million of you all on myself. I want a dancer to take a picture so I can look at you from inside as well. You got me turning up and turning down, I'm turning in, I'm turning round, I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. I got your picture, I get your picture. I'd like a million of you all of myself. I want a data to take a picture so I can look at you from inside as well. You got me turning up and turning down, I'm turning in, I'm turning round, I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. No sex, no drugs, no wine, no women, no fun, no sin, no you, no wonder it's dark. Everyone around me is a total stranger. Everyone avoids me like a cyclone ranger. Everyone. That's why I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. nearly stopped until I needed a band, and it's the best that I've ever had. I wanna hold you tight, and get teenage kicks right through the night. A teenage dream is so hard to be. Well, every time she walks down the street, another girl in the neighborhood, but she was mine, she looked so good. I wanna hold you tight, get teenage kicks right through the night. Yeah. I wanna hold you tight, get teenage kicks right through the night. All right.
This is a 1/4 inch sheet steel Bonsall fighting guitar. The way this works is there's a resonator cone on the inside, but the reason it's called a Bonsall fighting guitar is if you don't listen, it'll smash your teeth in with it.
It's so shiny, I just want to put wheels on it and drive it around all day.
Well, this one's quite a nice one. It's an old 1942 resonator, and it you can play it with a bottleneck or a slide, and it kind of that kind of, you know, Barnsley Delta blues sound, particularly inspired by a lot of the early Barnsley Delta blues players like Sonny Boy Entwistle, Whistling Willie Ramsbottom. He had a lot of trouble, that lad, and also Sleepy John Arkwright.
I'm sorry, you'd lost me again there for a minute. I was feeling a little bit sleepy John Arkwright myself, but having said that, it's plenty to fear.
I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling round the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on, but that old king keeps going way up to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. Well, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blow, I hang my head and rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had a car, I know I can be free, but these people keep moving, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they free me from this prison and that railroad train was mine, I think I'd move it all a little further down the line. Folsom Prison, that's where I'm going to stay. And I'll let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away. Rolling down the bend, sunshine since I don't know when. Well, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison and time keeps dragging on. But that one train keeps rolling way down to St.
Well, I've got a lot of work to do. I've got about 3 hours of preparation here. I've got to try and get these GHDs to get my hair straight for the gig at Wembley tonight. And to be honest, it was a bit of a rough night last night. We were working on the car wash and I'm afraid it went a bit airy with the back combing, and I think I've just gone a bit pear-shaped. But if you bear with me, give me a couple of hours and I think I might actually manage to get it somewhere near straight. What's that look like?
You know I love you. You know it's true. Give you all my love, babe. What more can I do? I walk by myself. I hope you understand. I just want to be your loving man. Yes, I love you with my heart and soul. Won't mistreat you for my way to go. You know I love you. You know it's true. Give you all my love, baby. What more can I do? I'm walking by myself. I hope you understand. Here we go. I'm walking by myself. I hope you understand. I just want to be your loving man. I'm walking by myself. I hope you understand. I just want to be your loving. I just want to be your loving. I just want to be your loving man.
And Bagpuss was wide awake. And when Bagpuss wakes up, all his friends wake up too. The mice on the mouse organ woke up and stretched. Madeleine, the rag doll. Gabriel, the toad. Oh, look, look.
Here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
We were told that we couldn't come down here to play down in Bonsall town. Well, my mom called me evil, I'm a backstabbing traitor, and I told her that I pitied her rather than hate her. So we canceled the gig and we didn't think twice. Thought 3 times to my own advice. Never tell the truth, I'm a liar, like Johnny Cash with my Ring of Fire. Well, we played our guitars like the son of a gun, like the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. I hope that his legacy always lives on, 'cause we're the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. My brothers a bitch about what I could do. Well, I didn't give a shit, but then they never knew that my backside project was doing the show, and we do it dead sneaky so they'd never know. So I rang up my good friends Alan and Ann, and I told them my story and I told them the plan. Build us something that we never did know. So we packed up our guitars and we hit the road. We played our guitars like a son of a gun, like the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. Well, we hope that his legacy always lives on, 'cause we're the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. Shed a tear, just drown your sorrows in a gallon of beer. Well, we did it regardless, and the family knew. They kicked me out of the band, and there to be too. 'Cause families, you know, you just can't live with them. Can't live with them, and you know you can't shoot them. But I'm glad that you came. Hope you had fun with Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. We played our guitars like the son of a gun, like the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. We hope that his legacy always lives on, 'cause we're the Bar-Steward sons of. Because we played our guitars like the son of a gun. We're like the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. We hope that his legacy always lives on, 'cause we're the Bar-Steward sons of Val Doonican. Yeehaw!
Say you're a lovely looking pair, but how did you two half brothers find your other third?
Strange story how we met Alan. We were touring at Derby Temperance Rooms, and at the time we were looking for a third member that had got some wheels. We both at the time used to travel on tandems from gig to gig, you remember?
Yeah.
And it was the strangest thing. We were like walking up the high street in Derby, and sure enough he turns up in this
mobile library.
Mobile library.
Was it a case of your eyes crossed across a mobile bookshelf?
No, not really. But we did meet him in a mobile library.
Yeah, and we just thought, he's the guy for us. If you ask Ard about it, I'm sure he'd tell you a lot more.
Well, I remember when I first met Scott and Danny, I was driving the Derby City Council library van through the middle of Derby. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Scott and Danny, who I didn't know who they were then, walking along the pavement. And what struck me most was that they looked exactly like me, because people often say I do look a bit unusual with my hair and the jumper and the clothes I wear, but I'd never seen anybody else dressing like this. I just felt quite natural in this sort of gear. And I looked out the window. I was on a zebra crossing, I think, and they were crossing the road, and I couldn't believe it. These two lads were just like me. It's like, not me doubles, but not far off. And I picked my hooter, and they waved, and they couldn't believe it either. So I pulled a bit further on, because I was driving the library van, which was my job then. And I pulled up, and they got in, and as luck would have it, they were interested in books anyway. And I said, "Oh, you must I'll show you around the van, lads, and I didn't mention to start with that they look like me, and they didn't either, but they got very similar jumpers on to me, and the hair just like me, dressed like that. And I showed them around the van, and then I asked them a few questions. I said, well, where are you from? Where have you lived, you see? And then we'd all lived in different parts of the country, but they'd done some research into things and had some ideas on where, on the links of why we should be to get, have this similarity. But the greatest similarity that we talked about that day was the fact they were all interested in music. They were banjo guitar players, and I did the accordion and the drum, and they'd played, and I said, well, I play, why don't we all get together? And so we got together soon in a pub and did this gig, not far from Derby, and it was phenomenal. And and it's one of the highlights of my life really, that I've met these two, and we keep in touch all the time, and we have so many things in common that it's unbelievable.
Okay, this is a song that features Alan very heavily on his squeeze box. It's called
Heavy Fetty.
Squeeze Box.
Mama's got a squeeze box she wears on the chest, and when Daddy comes home he never gets no rest, 'cause she's playing all night and the music's alright. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night. Well, the kids don't eat and the dog can't sleep, but no escape from the music on the whole damn street. Playing all night and the music's alright. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night. She goes in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out, till she's playing all night and the music's alright. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night. She goes, squeeze me, come on and squeeze me, come on and squeeze me like you do. I'm so in love with you. I do. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night. Come on and squeeze me, come on and squeeze me like you do. I'm so in love with you. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night. She goes in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out, but she's playing all night and the music's alright. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night.
I'm just looking forward to a really good night.
I want to get people up dancing, just have a good night, really good night. And it doesn't matter whether there's 5 people there or 500 people there.
That's it. Well, I'm bringing 4.
won't lose, you know I love you so bad. Please don't go there. For be a dog, for be a dog, for be a dog. Get your weird out here, make the walk along the bed. Please don't go here. Make you walk along the way, please don't go. Alright, baby, don't go. Baby, don't go. Baby, don't go down. You all these low notes, so baby, please don't go.
This is a Flying V ukulele. We had it specially custom built, so one of a kind. Unlike your George Formby Plinkety-Blonkety when I'm cleaning windows type ukuleles, this one, you know, acoustic will sound a bit like that kind of. But the special thing about this one is that it actually has a switch on the back that will take it all the way up to 12.
So it doesn't actually clean windows then?
No, but if you turned it up to 12, I'd imagine the windows might smash, or at least it would knock the dust off them.
That seems a little impractical.
Yeah, I suppose it is, but then that's not the purpose of the machine. It's actually there for playing. We've took this one before up to 9. We played Wembley Stadium last week, but we've never actually tried it on 12.
Would it be safe?
I don't know. We never actually took it to 12, but there's always one way of finding out, isn't there? I'll just give you a quick example.
I think I'll just step a little bit further away from the camera.
That's fine. I'm just going to turn it up one little bit. You can hear the sustain on it already.
Oh my goodness.
And then if I just... Just hear the sustain, it's like really...
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear what you're saying. There's a bit of a sustain on that.
So, as you can see, this is the Flying V ukulele.
Pardon? I've gone a little bit deaf.
It is like being near a nuclear fucking blast, man. The reason why I take sleeping pills is there's a noise in my head at the end of the show. I'm still hearing it now. It's fucking so loud, it's not even funny. I love it though, because I can hear everything then. And I get that in my head for the next 4 days, tinnitus.
Yeah. Well, it's getting late, and it's my mate. I tell me when the boys get here. It's 7 o'clock and I wanna rock. I wanna get a better pull up here. Well, I'm old now, I'm jumping down barrel, but I'm also have my own air that you don't care. The sister is good and I'm braces and booze and I can't put a finger in here. Whoa! You're giving out of your aggravation and I had to put you this up there. The Saturday night's all right for Friday, yeah, get a little action here. Forget about it all in the diesel train, yeah, we gotta hit the gas tonight. The Saturday night's all right, yeah, the Saturday night's all right, all right, all right. Ooh. they'll drink and shout. She's a bad, next thing sound. They'll really like was the sound of the sister on the motorbike. All the juvenile product of the working class. The best man found to the bottom of the back. Whoa! Don't give us none of your aggravation. How did we get this up there? Saturday night's alright for fire. Yeah, get a little lecture now. Get a back all this is diesel train. Yeah, got us to the night of night. Saturday night's the night I like you. Saturday night's alright, alright, alright. Everybody join in. Saturday, 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 well, Saturday night's alright.
It off now by you talking a little bit about the sorts of things that give you inspiration. Obviously, having a very well known and very famous father, you've got a lot to follow on from in his footsteps.
Well, yeah, Dad was one of the main inspirations behind what we did. I mean, we look back to moments like Val Doonican rocks, but gently, and we kind of thought, you know, we needed to kind of follow on the family tradition by kind of covering songs that not everybody would cover. So we kind of, by the way, I got that in a charity shop in Bonsall.
Well, we do say that charity begins at home.
It does indeed, and when you're at home with the Doonicans, it's always full of charity. We do a lot of work for charity. We don't like to talk about it, but we do a lot of work for charity. Things like House Party. House Party's a great album. It's got Wake Me Up Before You Go On Here, Dancing Queen, Club Tropicana, drinks free there. These are the kind of songs that in our early days, you know, when we were playing like smaller venues, like rather variety theatres, you know, those were the kind of places that we're playing. You know, we do that kind of stuff. What else have we got here? This is my dad's all about, so that's the Wombles.
We would have been very proud of that now.
We had great days with the Wombles when we were on tour with the Wombles. We wanted to cover that for the next album. This is Geordie Boys by Gaza. We were inspired by people like the Spinners, and even the Spinners is probably easily their greatest album, just for Drunken Sailor.
Didn't they branch into a line of men's clothing sometime after they retired as singers?
They might have. as I say, we've not seen them for some time.
Lovely jumpers then.
They did have lovely jumpers, but they weren't as nice as our jumpers. Obviously, tonight I'm not wearing mine. You know, being at home, it's a stage costume.
You're a little bit casual.
I am a little bit casual.
Not your usual smart and tatty self.
That's the one. Sometimes we got a bit extravagant and tried to do a bit of a mixed thing, and we kind of went through the whole Jad Bunny period in the early 90s, and that's when people kind of went off what we did for a bit. But no, our biggest inspiration came from this album, Jose Malise playing the Latin way. That is easily the greatest recorded acoustic album of all time.
That's a splendid hat he's wearing there. He looks a little bit like Lloyd Grossman.
He does actually, doesn't he?
But he'll whip up a lovely omelette.
This is it. This is the last one.
Three more. Time. Three more. Just each flown by. The time's flown by.
We'll meet again. Don't know where. Don't know where. But I know we'll meet again some sunny day. He's smiling through, just like you always do. To the blue sky, to the dark clouds far away. And will you please say hello to the folks that I know, and tell them I won't be long. And they'll be happy to know that you saw me go, that I was singing this song. Everybody, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know where, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do. Till the blue skies turn the dark clouds far away. And will you please say hello to the folks that I know, and tell them I won't be long. And they'll be happy to know that when you saw me go, you were singing in this song. Everybody, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know where, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Some sunny day. Some sunny day. We're smiling through, just like you always do. Till the blue skies turn the dark clouds far away. And will you please say hello to the folks that I know, tell them I won't be long. And they'll be happy to know that when you saw me go, you were singing a song. Last time. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know where, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Some sunny day. Thank you very much. Good night.
I think that's right, it feels right. I think we look ready for Wembley. Off we go, off to sound check. I think I'm ready to roll. Sorted. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
Don't go changing to try to please me. You never let me down before. Don't want clever conversation. I never want to work that hard. I just want someone that I can talk to. I want you just the way you are, the way you are.
I don't know what you say. He seemed like a good girl. I used my hand, but he seemed like a good girl. I don't know. I thought I used my head, but no. He said, I used my hand. You fuck off. I don't know. I don't care. To me, I win World Cup.